The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
So yesterday when I was making my rounds in my part-time job at the nursing home, Father Norm interrupted me, which he often does, and says, "Hey, I want you to preach tomorrow." Oh, I've never preached. My 30 years as deacon, I've never given a homily on Independence Day. I've done Memorial Day, Labor Day, but never. And I reluctantly said, sure. So it's an honor and a privilege. So I go home, and Paula's got millions of things for me to do, and then I had a commitment. So last night I put together this elegant homily on the inalienable rights granted by the Declaration of Independence, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and all the blessings that we in this country, anyway, blah, blah, blah. And this morning, I got up about 5:30 a.m. out of my REM sleep, because I don't usually get up till 8 o'clock. And I said, I gotta trash that homily. It's a piece of crap. It's all fluff. And it truly was. I'm not pulling your leg here. I thought, this is no good. So I thought, now what do I do? I'm a guy who always has his homily ready to go. Now what? So I got my cup of coffee, and I do what deacons and priests are called to do every morning and evening, and if you're a monk in a monastery, 7 times a day, and that is pray the Liturgy of the Hours. And maybe I'll get some inspiration, and I'll take a look at the Gospel again. So here it is. I'm praying the Liturgy of the Hours, and then I come across the Canticle of Zechariah. Listen to this, right? Blessed be the Lord, the God of Israel, who has come to his people and set them free. And he goes on later on to say, through his holy prophets, promised of old, he would save them from their enemies, from all who hate us. And then again later on, this was an oath that he swore to his father Abraham to set us free from the hands of their enemies, free to worship without fear all the days of our life, all the days of our life. This was the plea. This was the plea of Israel, to be free from their enemies. So with that, I thought to myself, the human desire for freedom must be the strongest desire that is embedded in our hearts and our souls. That and the desire to love and be loved. Freedom. And in the gospel today, what does Jesus do? He frees a man from his sins, and he frees him from his ailment, his crippled condition. And the Pharisees, as usual, go crazy. Why? Because they're so bound by the law, they don't get it. They don't get it. Jesus is the fulfillment of the law, to the point where freedom and love has got to be the most outstanding, paramount virtue. So throughout the Gospels, Jesus is constantly getting in trouble for this, because those guys are so bound by it, they can't see the truth. And how many times is on the Sabbath, when Jesus is entering into the temple like a good Jew, doing what you're supposed to do, go and pray, go and offer your sacrifice, there's a man or a woman there at the steps of the temple begging to be cured or healed, and he stops to do it. And then what happens? All hell breaks loose. You can't do that on the Sabbath. That's against the law. And Jesus is like, you know what? I don't have my planner to say to that guy, you know what, let's make an appointment for next Tuesday at 5 o'clock and we'll deal with this. No, Jesus always acts out of love in the moment, right? In the moment. When it's time to heal and show mercy and forgiveness, that's when you do it. That's the fulfillment of the law. And I was thinking about this. Right now, I'm dealing with a person in my life very close to me who is under the slavery of alcoholism. She's a mess, and I want her to be free. And there are days where she'll call the house and she'll say, you know what, I'm having a great day, and I'm working today, and everything is going great. And then at 2 o'clock in the morning, the phone call comes, they're not making any sense at all. I'm going over to see my ex-husband, blah, blah, blah. Like, Deacon Andy, Deacon Bob, they will tell you in their work how important it is and how redeeming it is to be free from addictions. And the addiction, all kinds of addictions. It's extremely freeing. Father Norm will tell you how freeing it is to hear someone's confession and feel that, yes. And yet, at times we think, oh, religion binds us. We have canon laws, and we have rules for this and rules for that. They're meant to free us. Jesus and his covenant of love is the greatest freedom there is. And I was thinking to myself, I was also looking ahead to the third Sunday of this month when I'll be preaching. It'll be my 3rd year anniversary in this parish helping out as your deacon volunteer. And I said, why am I here? Why have I come here after 3 years of being, after 27 years and one? Why have I come? And I was going back to that discernment, about coming here, meeting with Bob Bender about, what's the parish like? And I already knew what Father Norm was like. And I got to tell you, it's about freedom. It's redeeming. It's very redeeming to come in a parish where people feel the freedom to exercise their faith without feeling threatened or unwanted. To listen to the stories of our black brothers and sisters, to listen to the stories of our marginalized, our LGBTQ brothers and sisters, and how they've been treated in parishes right in this town. And to come here and to feel so welcome. That's freedom. That's freedom. And then there's freedom in nature. My wife, Paula, has a very contemplative hobby. I know she does this because she can't really say why, but I know why she does it. She raises monarch butterflies. Nature has a way of teaching us about freedom and its cost, because there is a cost to freedom, right? Jesus' freedom to speak the way he spoke and to heal and to forgive cost him big time, right? They tortured him. They crucified him over that. So my wife raises monarch butterflies, and this is what she does. These monarch butterflies are now arriving. They're coming in now. They're a little late. She's a little concerned. We haven't seen any. They're usually mid-June. They come from Mexico. They go across the treetops at night. It takes them months to get here. She goes out and she takes the seeds that they lay on the milkweed. They won't lay on anything but milkweed. So the reason there's a lack of monarchs is because of all the development, we're destroying the milkweed plants. That's the only thing they'll lay an egg on. She goes out there in our yard where we planted all this milkweed, and she has the ability to see those little eggs. I can't see them. They're the size of a pinhead. Seriously, I have to use a magnifying. She brings them into the house. On our back porch, she's got these cages about the size of this ambo, these cages, and she brings in the leaves. In about a week or two, the monarchs hatch, and they're the size of a little piece of rice, Within a week, they're an inch. Within 2 weeks, they're 3 inches. Within 4 weeks, they are so fat and big because they're pigging out on the leaves. And then something wonderful happens. They climb to the top of the cage and they weave their little chrysalis, their cocoon called a chrysalis, and they hang there for another week or 2. And then something absolutely wonderful happens. They come out in the glory of a beautiful monarch butterfly. And then it's just, I don't know how to explain this to you, but Paula will take them and put them on her fingers. And she almost comes to tears as she would be mad if I told you this. She almost comes to tears as she watches them go. And they always go up into the trees, and then eventually they come down and they pollinate all our flowers, all our perennials. And then after a few weeks, heading for Mexico. What is that about? It's about transformation. It's about freedom. Nature speaks to us. All of us were a little egg at one point, right? A little microscopic egg. Jesus was a microscopic egg in his mother's womb. And for 9 months, we're in a cocoon, growing, feeding off of our mother. Jesus fed off his mother, and then out we come. And then we grow. And then we die. And then the process starts all over. Freedom. The resurrection. Jesus was in the tomb on Friday, and he burst out on Easter Sunday. All of us will be in the cocoon, Holy Cross, Green Lawn, or a bottle. And we're all going to hatch again. That's freedom. We live in the freest country in the world. And today we celebrate that. But we have a long way to go. We have a long way to go. We have 2 candidates who, for the first time in a presidential debate, won't shake hands. And they jab at each other's golf scores. The hate and divide can only be healed by embracing a dialogue on freedom. We are better than that. We need to be the best we can be. And that's about promoting freedom and social justice with those who are marginalized and getting our government candidates and elected officials to be responsible to us who have elected them. That will set us free. That will continue to make us a great nation. So it's good to be here today. It's good to be here to start this day off, this Independence Day, praying for our country, praying for all the gifts that God has given us, thanking him for one of the most precious freedoms we have, and that is the freedom to pray and to gather in our churches, the freedom of religion. There's a lot of great things about America, but we can be better. So you're good for you and good for us that we are here today to pray for our country and to pray for one another. Amen.
Amen.